Hello everyone. Today's video is kind of a passion project for me, and I really wanted to explain this project before going into the voice memos. That way, if you're stumbling into this video and you have no idea who I am or what this video is about, you have a little bit better of understanding of what this video is for. So it's no surprise that many witches, pagans, occultists, whoever you are, whatever you identify as in your magical practice, sometimes we can feel really alone, really isolated, especially if we live in areas where it's really difficult to find people of a similar mindset. And it's also really difficult living in places where a lot of these spiritual practices are still being demonized. We are still being demonized for what we personally believe in and what we personally practice. And that can lead to us feeling like we're the only ones in the world that think this way or believe this way. So I really wanted to make this video as something that you can put on in the background. It's not something you really have to pay attention to, although the stories and the visuals, I put a lot of effort into it and I really hope you enjoy it. But you can put this video on in the background as you clean your house, as you study for school, as you read, you know, whatever it is that you're needing in that moment. If you're feeling a little bit lonely and you just need some voices on in the background from people that are similar to you potentially, then here's the video for that. I'm hoping that this is a video that you can come back to over and over again as many times as you need to. So here's the story. I basically posted to my community page on YouTube and then also on my Instagram asking people, how is your magical practice meaningful to you? And that was the one question that people answered in their various different ways throughout this video. And I'm not gonna lie, when I was listening to the voice memos, I cried. I cried. They were all so moving and inspirational, and I loved hearing everyone's stories, and I just wanted to thank everyone that submitted voice memos. I had no idea that I would receive that many, so that was really, really exciting for me. So thank you to everybody who participated in this project. We had people from all over the world. I mean, all over. If we're talking just the United States, we had from the West Coast to the East Coast to Hawaii. Outside of the United States, we had Canada, Australia, Nigeria, India, France, the United Kingdom, Germany. There are so many different countries that are being represented in this video, among many others from anonymous people that had submitted their voice memos. And it's just really lovely to see everybody coming together in this way. And as far as what's visually up on the screen, I tried to make this as visually interesting as possible. So I have done tons of spell work in this video. I did a watercolor painting, I did a wood burning project, I went on a nature walk, so there's definitely a lot that's going to be happening on the screen. But again, you don't have to pay attention, it's just something that you can put on in the background, but I do hope that you enjoy it. And lastly, wherever you are, I hope that you feel loved, that you feel accepted, that you feel seen, and that you know that you're not alone. Blessed be, and I hope that you enjoy these voice memos from people all over the world.
I'm a spiritualist and a psychic medium, and I almost didn't respond to this because when you ask how is your magical practice meaningful, I don't always consider what I do magic, but then what is more magical than being able to look at someone and say that your grandmother loves you and that she knows she's caused hurt and she's sorry, or that your best friend's still with you and he wants you to play guitar again because he knows that you love it. And I think there's just something so meaningful about being able to reach between our worlds and pull something back. A really famous TV medium whose name is currently lost in my brain fog said that what you love, you take. When we die, what we love, we take with us. And, you know, the people who love you still love you. And that's what's meaningful to me about my spiritual practice and my magical practice, is that there's so much love out there. And it's about connecting our love and their love and the love of whatever, you know, higher power you believe in, if you do. I think there's no fear in love, and that's what's meaningful to me about my magical practice.
Magic for me is the way to shape life on my own will, but also a moment of self-reflection. Magic has always been a place where I feel comfortable, a place where I can talk to myself, and also a place of power, a place where you feel a deep connection with nature, and also a healing place. Magic is everywhere, and wherever you look, wherever you appreciate the power of nature, the beauty of nature, this is magic. You don't need to do a ritual to feel the magic. You just need to be in profound contact with nature. And this, I think, is another way to appreciate magic. That's it. I think this is what means magic for me.
Hi, Ivy. I really love the question of what your magical practice means to you, so I thought I would answer for you. For me, I love the question because magical practice can mean so many different things depending on the person, and I'm really curious to hear what everyone's answers are. For me, my magical practice makes me a better person. It makes me a more assertive person, and it makes me a person who's more connected to the earth and the people around me. I use my magical practice to make myself a better person through things like shadow work and rituals, which help me heal parts of myself that might be traumatized or hurting. If I heal those parts of myself with magic, then I will be less likely to hurt other people with them, which I think makes me a better version of myself. I also use baneful magic to help make myself a more assertive person. Protective and baneful magic is self-defense, and it helps me protect myself and the people I love. And I feel more empowered when I use baneful magic to set up my spiritual space. And then finally, to connect me to the earth and to nature by the relationship that I have with herbs and with elementals, with ancestral and land spirits, and those who came before me. So all in all, I think that my magical practice really keeps me on my path and always moving towards being my best self, the best version of myself that I can be in any given moment.
Hello, wild ones and magical witches alike. This is Heather Lynn from the Wild Forest Witchery, and my practice keeps me connected to the land. As a forest witch, I love using materials that are gifted to me from the forest and wildlife. Plants are truly the greatest healers, and I'm so thankful to channel that energy daily, which makes up my craft. Blessings to all witches, united we are.
When I found out what was actually happening in the Catholic Church, I realized I had to question everything that I had been taught. I turned to the old ways, I turned to magic, I turned to witchcraft. There I found meaning and empowerment. I found connection to the earth and the universe. I found connection to source and to deities. And I now work with several who support me and protect me and counsel me on a daily basis. I truly, truly treasure my magical practice.
My practice is meaningful because it's just that. It's my practice. I'm a mum to 3 amazing kids, and naturally being a mum, my energy and life is given to them, and it is wonderful. But it is difficult to find that thing for yourself, and for me that is my practice. It allows me to see what I'm capable of, to see how powerful I am, and to grow in myself. It's helped me so much. It's helped me overcome so many things. And it just allows me to focus on me, to have that time for myself. And it's kind of like, not my secret, I'm very open about my practice in my house, but it's kind of like my own thing. So I don't tell anyone what I'm doing. I shut the door, and that's mine and mine alone. So it's incredibly meaningful in that respect, but it's also meaningful for a experience. As a Sagittarius, I'm always after new experiences, and to be able to travel to the other worlds, to be able to communicate with spirits, to use divination. And I've used divination to help people. That also gives another layer of meaning for me, to be able to help those who need guidance. And it's just something that has expanded not just my mind, but it's also feeling like it's unlocking parts of my soul. And it's just given a fresh perspective on life for me. And to be able to involve my children as well. My toddler loves my cards. He loves doing spells. We did a love spell together the other day, a little self-love jar for him. And to be able to share that again adds another layer of meaning. So my children are growing up in this environment to allow them to see that there is another side of things, there's another side of life. And that in itself, again, adds another layer of meaning. So it's been amazing, especially because I came into my practice during lockdown. I had a little bit of experience of Wicca in my teenage years, but lockdown was where it really kind of developed, and it's just grown so much. My practice now is completely different to my practice then. The only thing that's the same is the use of tarot. So the journey itself has just been incredible and needed. It's helped me with anxiety, it's helped me through postnatal depression, and it has just been life-saving in a way. So my practice is my life. It's given my life so much meaning, and to me as a person, it's just developed me so much. And I'm lucky to have people who also practice, but in different ways, so we learn from each other. And obviously being able to watch you, Ivy, and learn from you again just expands me and helps me grow. So my practice is amazing.
Aloha from Hawaii, everybody. I just wanted to share my experience with the occult, with magic in general. I don't think I've been practicing for as long or had as many amazing experiences, depending on your definition of amazing. But definitely it's been meaningful to me. My entire life, one thing that's frustrated me is it's just seemed like I was reacting to things that happened to me, that I just was on the receiving end. Life put things in my way or gave me opportunities, and it was up to me how I reacted to them. At a certain point, I guess you could call it some sort of a spiritual awakening. I had a feeling that, what if I didn't have to wait for something to happen? What if I could make things happen? And when I thought that, it just made sense. It just seemed like that's the way it should be. And since then, I've dived quite deep. I followed more of a chaos protocol, I think, a little bit all over the place recently. I've started looking more into rune work, but I've dabbled in quite a bit. When I say dabble, I think everyone can relate. I've bought a ton of books and read my way through them and tried to um, apply them where I can. Yeah, it's something that is personal to me. It's deep to me. I don't take it lightly, although I also try not to take it too serious. I try not to take anything too serious. I think that's actually a part of magic right there. Since then, I've had, to me, they're amazing experiences, coincidences that happen right when you need them to. Even if they may seem small to everybody else, to me, they're impactful. They make a difference. And given the magic that you feel when you're performing a ritual, and then to have something happen along the lines of what you were trying to create, it's a really powerful experience. YouTube channels like this are invaluable. They provide insight, and they put you on to things you may never have noticed before. And I can only hope to continue developing my magic, using my magic, and growing it. I hope this helps encourage everybody else to do the same. Thank you to Ivy for allowing us to do this, and I wish you all the best in your practice, your art, and making your life exactly the type of life that you want it to be.
My name is Adaline, aka the Hermit Witch Mama, witch from France. If my practice is important to me, it's because it allows me to feel complete. When I was a little girl, I already dreamed of having magical powers and was fascinated by my grandmother's occult activities. I learned later that some of my ancestors were also occultists, shamans, healers, and mediums. In my daily life, it helps me to keep in mind that I always have extra leeway and that I can be fully active in my life without having to wander around helplessly. It helps me to center myself as to experience a different wisdom. Why is my practice important? It allows me to honor my inner child as well as my lineage, my ancestors. It also allows me to show to my daughter that we have power over our existences and that the world is much bigger than what people try to make us believe.
Hi, Ivy. First and foremost, I want to thank you so much for even coming up with this concept and deciding to put together a compilation of voices of people in the occult and their experiences so that when new practitioners enter this world, they can hear firsthand that they are not alone. Because I know from my own experience that coming into this world can be overwhelming and it can be lonely. And it's part of it, but on the other hand, videos like this are going to help people, and entering the world of the occult is also really, really rewarding. So why my personal practice is meaningful to me is, first and foremost, it has allowed me to create a better understanding of experiences I've had in my life that were, call it supernatural, spiritual, and then develop a connection to that world. Growing up, I was always someone who was very skeptical. I was atheist. I never believed in higher powers or spirits even, but I wasn't necessarily closed off to it. At the same time, I was also always drawn to, I would say, the concept of spirits and especially witchcraft. I was drawn to darker left-hand path sorts of things. And within that, I even dabbled a little bit in certain aspects of witchcraft. The only thing is, when you're a kid, you don't necessarily do your research before you start playing around and dabbling with things. And I realized very quickly that, wow, there are other things out there than what you see with your naked eye. And opening myself up to those energies was something that I was not really prepared for at that time. And so I stepped away from it and tried to live my life, a normal, mundane life as best as possible. But, I think the craft has a draw on certain people that if you're drawn to it, you're drawn to it. And no matter how far away I got from it, it was still always in the back of my mind. And now I've come to a place in life where I realized I need to not fight the draw that I have from the craft, and instead I need to understand it, and I need to come back to it, but with a more matured mindset and approach. So now I understand to have a darker left-hand path, you have to understand a lighter left-hand path. You have to understand protection, and you have to understand how to control and manipulate your own energy. And so this ability to control yourself, control, I want to say, situations, is something that the craft has given me. It allows me, and I feel like a lot of people are drawn to this, it allows us to take control of things in our life and not just leave it up to the universe or whatever higher power. Instead, we are able to actually manifest and take control of things that we want to see change in our lives. Furthermore, I would say the craft is really meaningful to me because it, on the connection side of things, has allowed me to connect with the earth and with nature in a way that I have never really been able to do in the past. And it's so rewarding to see how nature responds when you respect and you give it that connection, when you open yourself up to it. And so I'm sure I rambled here a little bit, but I would say understanding your own power and the control you can have over your life and the connection that you can build with nature and with energy around you is the most meaningful thing my practice has given me so far. It's been not too long that I've come back to this path, but I'm really looking forward to where it takes me. And thank you so much again.
I come from a background of religious abuse, so for me, my magical practice, whether it was secret or not secret now, it's kept me going, and in some cases, it's really saved me from giving up quite a few times, actually. And I mean, now I'm in a place where I'm safe to be myself, and I've come out of the broom closet to most of my friends and some of my family, but I couldn't have gotten to where I am today without some sort of magical practice, because really that keeps you tied to who you are in the truest nature.
My magical practice is everything to me. It is what keeps me grounded and connected to who I am and all cosmic unseen forces that make up life. It is very simple and powerful at the same time. It is my intuition, my mind, and the ability to recognize and discern subtle messages that are delivered on a cool breeze, dancing shadows from leaves on a tree, or words sung riding on radio waves in the car. My magical practice lights me up and calms me down. It is the elements of earth and wind, fire and water that make up who I am.
When I think about my practice over the years, I feel like what has made it really meaningful and personal for me is that it has always been a source of great comfort and support. I first realized that witchcraft was actually a real thing that I could practice when I first watched The Craft when I was 11. From there, I started learning about Wicca and reading anything that I could find and practicing throughout my teens. But I remember before that, when I was little, I always loved magical books like Matilda and The Worst Witch and The Queen's Nose and all types of fairy tales. And I would just make up spells and potions and spend time in nature, collect leaves and sticks and stones and feathers and treasure, and speaking to the trees and with the animals. And I also practiced what I now know was visualization. And I felt like there was magic within me. But also, I feel like that magic that I also see in my children now, they're 5 and 7. I feel like that magic is within all children and young people, and it gets dimmed and it sort of gets pushed out of young people quite quickly. But I was quite young at heart, really. I still am. And I was always really imaginative, even when I was 11. So I think that I was still believing quite a lot of magic for a long time. But when I discovered Wicca, it was literally like the world opened up again. That wonderful, playful, imaginative world that I lived in as a child just reopened again. And it felt like I wasn't alone and like there was a tribe and a place for me. I definitely still feel as an adult that I'm searching for my tribe of people and my community. But I do have some connections with other truly like-minded souls in real life, either witchy or not, or spiritual or not, as well as connections online who generally are. And that has been a great comfort as well. And I think that connection has always been so powerful for me in my practice. Even as a teenager, I didn't have a coven at all. I practiced alone. But I felt like maybe I wasn't such an outsider in the world, actually, because I'd found something that truly resonated with my heart and soul and the essence of who I felt I was. Well, there have, of course, been points in my practice when I've experienced overwhelm and burnout, different kinds of blocks, anxiety, inferiority complex, and imposter syndrome. Interestingly, many of these episodes have occurred since I became an adult. I seem to have more confidence in my ability to practice magic and be magical when I was a child. And that, again, reminds me about that importance of imagination and play and connection. I've remedied these different blocks in differing ways at various times. And I actually filmed a video a few months back for my YouTube channel about this, and I'm editing at the moment, so it should be live on my channel soon. I noticed that these dips in my practice also often coincided with dips in my actual mental health and periods of anxiety and depression. I think that sometimes my practice would bring me back and really, really help to support me. And other times it could be another source of overwhelm or perhaps like anxiety about the ways in which I'm doing things. And so I think that discovering and understanding the concept of animism was so truly crucial for my practice. It was through pantheism that I discovered animism and like learnt about that in my teens. And that explained that innate feeling I'd always had of connection to spirit in nature, the life source and essence of every being. That connection plus that playful and mindful approach in my practice is what keeps it fresh, vibrant, and healthy for me. When I was in hospital last year with this awful throat infection called a quinsy, I was delirious with pain and I took a walk around in the evening. Our local hospital is surrounded by linden trees because they're a symbol of health. I just sat down next to this linden tree on a wall and I was crying. I heard the spirit of the tree speak to me in this soft, beautiful voice. It was really nurturing and motherly. The spirit of it was so tender and comforting. And the tree offered me a young green leaf to take back inside with me as a way to stay close. And for me, it's those small, seemingly insignificant moments of connection and magic in my practice that are truly meaningful and powerful. And that is what it means to me to be a witch. If I feel myself begin to wobble, I'll always just come back to my body, my breath, and connecting to the earth and the flora and fauna surrounding me, whether I'm at the seaside or in the woodlands or a local park. And that's when I remember that beyond the altars, tools, and the books, the magic is within me, first and foremost, and that connection to the spirits around us. I'm Emily Diamond from Emily's Witchcraft and Tarot. Many blessings.
At this time in my period of life, I will say nature is where I get all my magic from. Energy. It's just so hard because it just comes down to so many corners of my life that I've been through. My magic comes from my ancestors and my grandma and my great-grandma. But at that time, you got to remember, back in the 1800s and 1900s, it's been very hardcore, put it like that. I will be here for more than 5 minutes, but it's been interesting seeing things that they would do compare how we do it now. But as all the experience that I've been in my life, it just feels more natural to me to hit a hike and do a dance for Mother Earth and feel the energy coming from that than do it how it was back in the days in a shed and doing certain spells here and there. It's very tricky, that question. But I would say nature is where I get all my power from. Plus, here and there we have other things in life that we go through. But, as a person like me who's been practicing basically my whole 41 years that I've been living in this planet. It's just so much things happening that I just go whatever my inner God tells me to do, if that makes sense. Because even if you think about it, if you're going back to, from my experience, how my grandma used to do it, it was more into blood, if that makes sense. It was more into that old hardcore tradition, and now it's just, I have done it because I've been through her grimoire. She showed me multiple things in her life that I see, and I have pictures of how it was when I was literally walking into her dungeon. That's what I call it. But you see certain things that I have to like literally sit down with you and talk all that experience. But everything in life, you got to understand, has a meaning to an end, and you just have to enjoy every spell, every hex, every moment that you have in this planet. You have to enjoy it, and don't pay mind to all those haters and all that negativity out there, because they just want to bring you in. So, for example, in my experience, I really don't hang out with nobody. Like, I deal with my own spells, I deal with my own energy, I go out in my own world and by myself. I wish I had a coven, or I wish I had like someone or some brothers and sisters that I could get together and deal with the practice that enlightens me, but I haven't found that team yet. So right now I live in New York, Long Island, so it's very difficult to find that, but the magical of this world is just everywhere, and no matter what I go through, I'm going to enjoy it. As we speak, I'm sitting in my car working, sending you this message, and I feel the energy coming through the AC of my truck. So it's a lot. It's just so hard to explain, and I know my answer to your question is all over the place, but thank you. I appreciate everything you've done, and I love your videos, and continue doing your hard work, that everything will fall in place for you.
Hey, I'm from Nigeria, Africa. Hello, Ivy. I hope anybody can hear me. My accent is not too harsh. Anyway, I've been doing my magical practice for like a really long time. Not really that long. I'm still in my early 20s, but this is more than like 5 years, I guess. So, magical practice has like inspired me and empowered me, because that's how meaningful it was for me, in the sense that when I first started and all, like, I was going through abuse and all, and at that moment I must admit I got into the practice because I was looking for a way to have revenge. I didn't get that revenge, but like, in a way, this is my magical practice because I'm eclectic. I'm not really someone. I just couldn't get into any kind of practice, or like I just can't put my mind on one thing, honestly. Anyway, sharp. Anyway, this has inspired me in the sense that it has empowered me in the sense that I went through a lot, and in a way, magic healed me, like made me feel so much better than I was then. Especially in this side of my world where it's hard to get mental health, like everybody looks down on mental health in this side of the world and all. In a way, magic has helped with that and all. And I just feel myself becoming better and better despite all the pain I've experienced before. And with it comes more and more healing for my childhood and everything, and it's amazing and all. Like, I don't know what to say again. Anyway, thank you, Ivy. Occultists. You are an inspiration worldwide, and to anyone that is in a country or in a world where they just don't feel like they belong, you belong with us, I guess. You're amazing. And I just wanted to say that out there because I know somebody is probably going to be like me wondering that they're actually going crazy by going into the practice and feeling alone. Yeah, you got friends here. You're not alone. So, as I said, hey from Nigeria, enjoy your life.
My magical practice has helped me, and it's meaningful to me because it has helped me heal so much from my religious trauma I had growing up. It has opened my eyes up to so many possibilities and beliefs in the world, and it makes me feel free, like I feel empowered by that. I feel empowered that I don't know what's going on, and that's okay. There's so many theories and possibilities of how the universe works, how everything's connected, and it's okay not to know. And it doesn't have to be ruled by one deity or organization. And so it's been very beneficial into empowering me. It's helped me heal so much from my past. And I don't think I would be the person I am today without it.
Hi, my practice has been important to me because seeing the great cosmic scheme of things, I've been able to release my sense of insignificance on this universe and see that I am really important.
For as long as I can remember, I've questioned everything, not out of stubbornness or disrespect, but because it's in my nature to understand all things from different perspectives. I was raised in a home that had very little religious or spiritual beliefs, but my father would often spew random thoughts and refer to them as sins or laws of God, all the while living the opposite of what he spoke. And as a result, religion became something very difficult for me to understand or grasp. When I would question it, I was often given answers like, you must walk by faith, or it's God's will. And this did nothing to satiate my desire for an understanding. And in these very impressionable years of my life when I was young, I was looking for something more. Then eventually I found my way to Christianity. And to this day, that still does play a vital role in my life. But it's separate from my practice. And yet at the same time, it's the core of my practice. But most importantly, my belief is just that. It's my belief. No one can tell me it's wrong. And I've grown more in the last year of my 4th decade on this earth than I did all the decades put together. I often refer to my practice as my oneness. I'm one with nature, earth, air, water, fire, spirit. I commune, I pray, my oneness. And that's what makes my spiritual practice so meaningful.
Hello everyone, my name is Rhiannon Harvest. I am a folk practitioner and fellow occultist and YouTube and podcast host on all things occult, witchcraft, spiritual, and magical. And my podcast title is Witch's Ritual. You can find me in all podcast platforms. And my YouTube channel is Rhiannon Harvest, and I share my magical journey as well as magical tips and tricks and techniques that you can try for yourself to bring about manifestation for yourself. I did want to just share a little bit about what makes my practice meaningful to me. What makes my practice meaningful is that it really helped me to connect to myself and my culture. Growing up as a mixed person, I am Métis, so I am French Native American, which is Cree, and I am also Irish, Scottish, German, and some English mixed in there. And a lot of my culture had been colonized upon. And a lot of my other heritages throughout my lineage colonized other parts of my heritage. So growing up, I always felt very disconnected and always felt very, very spiritually grounded and minded in that way. And I always felt very like ostracized. Why did I feel like this? Why does everyone not understand what I'm talking about? And I would go through these weird like bouts of spiritual downloads and psychic like premonitions and not understand what was happening to me, thinking I was crazy, people thinking I was nuts, and all the while kind of being very depressed and not having that family connection and cultural heritage that it craves so badly. I kind of just grew up in an English household that had really no connection to spirit. We were like labeled Protestant, air quotes, but we weren't practicing. And I never realized, like, I never really resonated with that anyways. So when I stumbled upon meditation, I accidentally fell into this deep 2-hour meditation one day. I was so overstimulated, so overstressed, very depressed, and I sat in my room on the floor after school one day, and I fell into this 2-hour meditation. And when I came out of it for dinner, my grandparents were calling me, and that's what woke me up. I felt so refreshed, and I had never not had one single thought in my life for that long of a period of time. I'm a Gemini, so I'm constantly thinking 8-9 different solutions for everything I could come up with. I have a solution and a path to what I think of, and I never had that level of peace before, and so I decided to just explore and see what that was. And through exploring meditation and Ayurvedic practices and discovering paganism, I discovered Wicca and occultism, and discovered that I could have my own personal power and step into it and take responsibility for my life and what I want to bring into the world. So I'm thankful for that, and through that it helped me discover my culture. It helped me discover Irish folk magic, and it helped me discover the powwow practices of my indigenous side, and it helped me step into something that I never otherwise would have been able to. So I'm thankful for my practice, and it's meaningful to me because it brought me my culture back, and it brought me meditation, which brought me a community of you guys, and it brought me my independence and my personal power back. I want to thank Ivy for this amazing project, and I can't wait to meet new friends in the community. Definitely don't forget to say hi if you ever see me around, and I can't wait to make new friends. Have a great day, guys.
My magical practice is important to me because it elevates me from the mundane to higher realms. It lends protection when I need it. It heightens my psychic ability. It adds mystery and magic and awareness to every corner of my life.
Hey Ivy. Hello everyone. I'm Starlight Spellsinger, and I'm an eclectic pagan witch. I'm also legally blind. I prefer the term visually impaired because I still have some eyesight and I do my best to work with what I've got for the most part. But my practice has had a lot of meaning to me in different ways, so I'm going to try my best to be as brief as possible. Bear with. Thanks. Due to my disability and social anxiety, I've always had a difficult time going out and approaching people and making new friends just because, like, I don't know, I felt like some kind of outcast and weirdo. um, but it's gotten a lot easier over time. Um, I've learned some magical methods to witch through it and meet new people. But at the beginning of my practice, I had absolutely no friends. I was really lonely for the longest time, but as I continued on my path, I just felt this warm sense of welcome and belonging, and I never really felt like I belonged anywhere before, until finding my practice. Because I would talk to the gods, and I felt like they were listening wholeheartedly without judgment. Um, and I felt like I could be myself around them. And they didn't care, you know? Um, I would, as weird as this may sound, I would talk to the trees and to plants, and through that connection to tree spirits and plant allies, I found friendship, and I still view it that way today. Also, thanks to my practice, I was able to make some really amazing friendships. Like, just when I was feeling the loneliest and hopeless, um, my path led me to some really amazing people, and I'm really grateful to have them in my life. Um, it also taught me to accept myself for all that I am, and this is a lot of hard work through shadow work and self-love, but it's taught me to accept my disability and love that it makes me different. Um, it also taught me to view what I thought was weakness as strength, um, to let my disability empower me. Um, I guess I'll give an example. I don't want to talk too long, but it was the challenges I faced. Witchcraft taught me to view them more as adventures. So I can't do things a lot of the ways someone with full vision would, and I had to make adaptations, right? So why view that as a hindrance when that can be a fun adventure to figure it out? That's magic in itself. To figure out new ways of doing something. But yeah, I just wanted to say that you're not alone. We're all in this together. Thank you so much, Ivy, for the opportunity to share my voice and my thoughts. I appreciate it.
It grounds me and brings me closer to my ancestors. It brings me closer to nature, and it gives me an outlet to my creativity in ways that feeds my soul. Also, a different outtake in life. It gives me strength and courage to follow my desired path, and knowing that even as a solitary witch, I am not alone.
Hello, my name is Webb. Well, my pen name is Webb. So I heard the creator had a really nice vision in mind for creating this documentary, so I just want to give a little input. So hello there. So to answer the question, how is magic meaningful to me? So basically, I don't know how to tell you this, but I always felt like there was something missing in my life. Before I was introduced to different types of magics and occultists and different covens around the world. Well, I'm not a practitioner, well, not yet, but I really admire those who do practice magic. It somehow gives me hope that their legacies will continue to go on. There are certain people who don't believe in this kind of stuff, but I'm a believer, and I'm thankful to all those who practice in them. And magic has really changed my life somehow, because it brings a lot of positive energy, and there are times when sometimes it just feels like life isn't good enough, but when one good practice at magic, one good ceremony, and well, it's all well and good. It somehow brings a big change in me, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. So I just want to be thankful to all the pagans, witches, occultists, and covens out there who stand up for each other and keep their practices going. And I hope these continue to go on, because I'm really grateful for all the platforms that keep this practices going. Well, anyway, please don't lose hope, and please don't listen to all the haters and negative people, and please don't feel lonely, because us viewers will always be here for you, and we also hope to become practitioners one day.
Hi, my name's Eclectically Me. I am a YouTuber and TikToker, and I just wanted to add my bit of what witchcraft means to me. I've always been confident, I've been well spoken, and I've also been able to talk to a dead stick most of my life. I'm very good at communication, I'm very good at being open with people, but the sense is I always felt like something was missing. I felt like I couldn't quite connect with people in a sense because something was there that was always quite missing. And I've always been a bit different in the sense that I've always liked crystals, I've always liked tarot cards, and that kind of opened the door for witchcraft to me. I started off as a person that my family wasn't really religious, but they did believe in God and stuff like that, where I really wasn't. I always questioned things, and I had a uniqueness for looking at things differently and looking at things from a different point of view. And that's what witchcraft did for me. When I found witchcraft, I started learning each subject bit by bit, and it was kind of great because every time I went to my grandparents' house, I would buy a book and I started learning each subject by subject. And back then we really didn't have many books to choose from. It was like Silver Ravenwolf or Fiona Horn, and I'm in Australia, so there really wasn't many options for books. And I learned bit by bit, and I soaked things up like a sponge, and I tried it, and I learned the things that I didn't like and stuff like that. And I think that's what witchcraft is. Witchcraft means so much to so many different people, and the great thing is there is also such a great community out there, and if you find your people who inspire you, make you a better person, and also build you up, there is so many great other people out there that in the community. Unfortunately, there is the bad, but there is so many good aspects. And I think that witchcraft also made me me. It showed me that I can be me. I can step into my power. I can be confident. I can be unique. I can be different, and that's okay. And the things that makes me unique is the things that makes me special and makes the beautiful things about me, and my flaws are my flaws, and things like that. And I stepped into my power. It made me see things for what they were, also to see the magic in the world and know that I can help people, I can change things, and I can make the world a better place and make things different if I want to. And it is such a beautiful thing and such a unique thing, and it's such a positive thing. And I like to share my gifts with people and also teach, because showing them, when I first started out, I had no one, and I learned by myself, and to help others and to mentor and to give out some wisdom and some help and show that it isn't actually as hard as you think it is. Um, you know, that is the most freeing and amazing thing, and I would welcome anybody to try it and start it. And I can guarantee, if you feel like something's missing in your life, this will open up so many doors to you.
Hi, my name is Celeste, and I'm from New York, and my YouTube name is actually The Mystic Nymph. And first I want to say thank you to Ivy. This is a very amazing and forward-thinking project to give a voice to the community, and I'm so happy to be a part of it. I don't know how well I'll do, to be honest with you. I reset this thing 14 times. So, okay, I'm just gonna jump out there. Like most of us, because we love this so much, I could sit here for hours rambling on about all the things I love about the occult and mysticism. But sticking to the question, why is my meaningful? How is my practice meaningful to me? Because it's like air. It's the air I breathe. It's everything. It's such a huge part of my life, and it always has been from day one. I don't know if it's in my DNA, written in the stars through astrology, call it whatever you will. It's always been a driving force that propelled me forward, an interest, a love, my entire life. And it wasn't, I would say, until the last 20 years that I fully embraced it, because there have been ins and outs and ups and downs, of course. And I'd say the last 10 years where I was actually fully in 100% with my energy work and just all these different things. And that helps me to accept myself, to fully 100% accept myself for who I am, which is important to me as an adult, a woman, a mother. I have a learning disability and I have PTSD, and these things have kind of held me back. I've held myself back in a lot of ways throughout my life, not fully being authentic with myself and with others, and shying away from authentically living and acting the way I wanted to, saying the things I wanted to. It helped me to heal. It helped me to heal a lot of trauma. It helped me to give me personal power. And it honestly gave me eyes to see. And I mean in a magical sense, not the technical sense, not the academic sense, not all the little nooks and crannies and ins and outs that come with this, but just this magical sense, like seeing myself and my divinity in other people and in nature and in animals and just in the world and my impact on it and how I can affect it. Like the magical aspect, like all of them play a part, but really the magical aspect at this point in my life is really important to me in the grand scheme of things, because it's like I reflect and I look back and I'm like, wow, like you really thought you knew, but you really don't know. And I still don't think I fully know, but I want to, and I'm going to keep going forward. I'm not going to stop, and it excites me every day. Like I said, it pushes me forward every day, and it keeps me grounded. It keeps me sane so that I don't feel crazy. I will tell you this one thing about why it's important to me, being part of the community where you go online and you're able to look at things. And when I was younger, yeah, we had the books and little meetup groups and whatever, but I've always been more like that solitary person. And it's weird because like YouTube can let you be solitary but still a part of something, but not a part of something, but still solitary but a part of something, if you know what I mean. And that's kind of my personality. And through that, and especially there's a lot of great YouTubers, but especially Ivy, this channel in particular, helped me to feel like I'm not crazy, or at least I'm not crazy alone. And yeah, I'm looking at this little orange mic and it's 3:54:55, and I think that's all I got. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Katie and I'm from Eastern Kentucky. And if you know anything about the area, you'll know that it is a spiritual dead zone, not even a metaphysical shop for miles. And yet you'll find a church on every corner. So you can tell the kind of environment it cultivated. My worldview ended up very closed-minded, and I didn't really get to open that up until I got to move away from family when I was in my 20s. Didn't help that my environment as well discouraged introspection, and it caused me a lot of trauma. PTSD, depression, anxiety. I got stuck with the works. And it was incredibly scarring for me, having suppressed my needs and my beliefs for so long. Like I couldn't trust myself. I couldn't believe in myself in any way because my thoughts and feelings weren't as valid as other people's thoughts and feelings. But as I moved out and started to actually think about my needs for once, I realized there was a lot of things I was suppressing, and one of those things was that I was queer. It was the first thing I realized about myself, and I didn't allow myself to acknowledge that before. And I couldn't reconcile that with the Christian faith. So I started looking inward at my internal beliefs and what I truly and actually believed. And this got me thinking, the person that realized I was queer, or the person that actually got me to realize I was queer, she practiced witchcraft. And a lot of her beliefs, while I didn't think so at the time, looking back, they really lined up with a lot of the things I actually believed in. And looking back on her thoughts and memories, she practiced and involved me in her practice, and I didn't understand that's what it was at the time. I was just there to support a friend, and she loved it, so I loved it. But like, it was really fulfilling for me to just get out in nature and experience those things with her. And we ended up falling very hard for each other. And I was in an abusive situation. She was having medical health issues, and so we didn't work out, and she passed away in 2020 due to cancer. But I still hold her very close to my heart. But there were a lot of things left unsaid, and I was really craving some sort of deeper connection with her. And that, plus the thing I said earlier about it aligning more with my beliefs, it inspired me to look deeper into paganism, and I realized a lot of things just fell into place when I looked into it. Like pantheism, chaos magic, those are things that I had already believed. I didn't think there were words for it. Like, I looked internally and I thought, wow, no one would believe any of this except for me. None of this would make sense to anybody but me. But there were words for it. And when I figured that out and started looking deeper into things, I finally started to feel at home. And there was a space for me, and I haven't really felt that before. And yeah, I still struggle with depression. I'm only a year into this practice, but it has been so fulfilling, and it has helped me so much through my mental health journey, and has helped me mentally and physically in so many ways. And while I still struggle, I think I'm finally to a point now where I can say that it's gonna be okay. And I couldn't say that for a long time, but I think I finally can now. And if you're like me, if you suppressed your needs for a long time, didn't acknowledge that, didn't feel like you were allowed to, here's your permission. You're allowed to believe in yourself and to trust yourself, trust your mind, trust your body. And if you're going through witchcraft to do that, then I see you. I see you, and I am proud of you. You're not alone. And everything is going to be okay. Giving you lots of love and hugs through the screen right now. Thank you.
Hey, this is Aurora with Lavender Hazelwood Witches on YouTube and Instagram and Etsy. So when I was a kid, I wanted to be a witch when I grew up. And, in a practical world, that isn't really a career path necessarily. So I did focus on other things in my life, and only as an adult did I realize that my interests were almost all in alignment with magic and with witchcraft in some way. So like divination, astral work, psychology, just seeking spiritual wisdom, working with affirmations and intentions, herbs and healing, things like that. So I sort of came in a roundabout way to it, but the thread has always been there, and staying connected to it and focusing on this aspect of my life has been a literal lifesaver in a lot of ways, and has kept me afloat when I felt like I had nothing else in my life that was, well, just nothing else in my life. But so that's why this path has been meaningful to me.
Hello, here is Crystal World. Sorry for my bad English. I would like to briefly describe to you all what it means for me to work magically. Every day brings new tasks and challenges for all of us. Through my work, I have got a new positive view of the world and of the little things around me, on the nature that surround us, on people and situations. Stand by yourself and your vision of yourself every day.
Hello, this is Jasmyne Ambrosia. You can find me on YouTube. Ivy asked me to contribute to this project, which I was delighted and honored to even be asked. The question is, why is your witchcraft practice meaningful? And to me, witchcraft has always been political. Some people say, oh, witchcraft isn't political and blah, blah, blah. Yes, it is. Look at the Gospel of Aradia. That's a perfect example about empowering the marginalized and using witchcraft as a way to create liberation. And right now, us as witches, and myself as a trans woman need liberation. I would strongly encourage that you look up the Marsha P. Johnson Foundation and support trans women who are victimized and at a very high rate unalived. It's very unfortunate, and we need the witches, especially this current generation of witches, to be holding space and creating space for trans women. This is about supporting the hopeless and the fearful. This is about supporting the outcast and the heartbroken. Create that space.
It grounds me and brings me closer to my ancestors. It brings me closer to nature, and it gives me an outlet to my creativity in ways that feeds my soul. Also a different outtake in life. It gives me strength and courage to follow my desired path, and knowing that even as a solitary witch, I am not alone.
Hi, my name is Tammy, and I live in Virginia. Due to my disabilities, I am homebound. I can't make it through a day without engaging in some aspect of my magical practice, even if it is just lighting candles and meditating. I am now working with Hell, and I have conversations with her through tarot and meditation. She is a deity who doesn't pull any punches, so I have to be in a good state of mind to hear what she has to say. I do have a money bowl and a healing bowl, and I work with them several days a week. I have candles with herbs around them, which I light while working with them. Since I am a folk witch, I enjoy this time of year when all of my herbs are greening up in my porch garden. I enjoy drying herbs and creating tea, salves, incense, and oils with them. I used to have an Etsy shop where I sold my creations, but I actually couldn't keep up with the orders. I don't know if I'll sell my stuff again because it's a lot of work. Right now, I love just communing with nature and creating things for myself. I'm not in a coven right now, and I would love to find a group of people to video stream with and be able to celebrate SBATs and Sabbats with and just chat about witchy stuff with.
My magical practice is meaningful to me because it gives me something to believe in that's bigger than myself, and it helps me stay sober. I really enjoy Draconic Wicca and the moon, as well as worshipping Hermit, the forest god, and they all help me accept the parts of myself that before were things I could not accept, and through daily, monthly, and yearly ritual, I am able to learn more about myself and my subconscious. There's so much about it that is meaningful to me.
Hi, Ivy. This is HellhoundJ. I just wanted to say that My magical practice gives me meaning and purpose, and there's a lot of strength and stability in it for me. It gives me something to look forward to every day and kind of gives me direction in a world where I get very little of that. And I don't know, I guess things just flow better because of my practice. Um, yeah, purpose, I guess, gives me purpose. I look forward to it every day. Thank you. Um, Hope you're doing well. Thank you for the channel and all that you do. Goodbye.
How is your magical practice meaningful to you? That's honestly a really hard question because there's a lot. But being a witch has helped me in so many ways, physically and mentally. I I originally got into it because of a tarot reading a friend of a friend did for me. We'd never met before. She had just learned my name, but she knew everything, and I mean absolutely everything. Things I had never spoken aloud before. She was amazing at reading. But, within the reading that she gave me, she also gave this feeling of understanding. We cried together. We got to share the experience, and it was honestly really, really healing for me. I wanted to learn to do that for other people after that. I wanted to learn to help people like she had helped me. So I got into tarot, and tarot led me into pendulum work, and pendulum work led me into working with herbs and casting spells, and after all that landed me more and more, into becoming a witch. My magical practice has helped me help myself along with helping other people, and it has been truly amazing. I've learned so many things. There's just so much you can do with the craft. It's helped me personally a lot. For example, because of my practice, I don't have nightmares anymore when I used to have them every night. I don't have panic attacks as often either. I'm able to work things through more thoroughly just by shuffling my tarot deck and reading, which has helped me a lot with my mental health. Or I can make a pick me up tea, when I'm just having one of those bad days. There's just so much. And I've been able to pass all this on to my friends and my family too. I've made wards to spiritually protect them, and I've done spell work to open communication for a household during rough times, and even aided people in working through their trauma and doing shadow work. Personally, my magical practice isn't just casting spells and collecting pretty crystals and putting, spell jars together and stuff. Although I'll be honest, that's a big part of the fun. But mainly for me, it is a practice of healing and a practice of growth. Through witchcraft, I can work through life and help other people do the same thing. And that just means so much to me. It means the world to me. So, to those of you listening, if your magical practice or spiritual work, whatever you prefer to call it, if it works for you and it helps you and it makes you happy, then you should keep going and growing with it. I know that there are a lot of people who may speak ill and make rude comments, but please don't stop or be ashamed because of that. They can say what they want, but if your practice is meaningful to you, that is all that matters. Whatever works, works. And if you have something that drives you and helps make your life better, that is truly amazing. That is so amazing. So please don't give up on that.